Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 30s Diary podcast. Today is a pretty interesting episode. It's going to be all about Filipino culture and what I learned while I was in the Philippines. And I just kind of wanted to recap my experience. And, I already have all my Filipino videos and my vlogs out on my channel. So this is kind of like the last Philippines video / podcast before I go on with the rest of my 30s journey and my 30s diary and just, documenting my life and what I've been learning, how I'm growing, how I'm healing, all of that. I really want to continue making videos like this because I feel like there's a lot of people on social media that's, they're not teenagers and they're not in their 20s. And we're just learning along the way. We're adults now, we're more mature. And there's just so much content out there for those who are in their 30s and 40s and 50s, however old you are. And I want to let you all know that you're not falling behind and you can live the best life possible and that there's so much opportunities and great things along the way that are going to happen to you or that has happened already. And I'm just very optimistic about growing older. And I feel like, especially in social media, everyone's talking about trying to be as young as possible and looking as young as possible. And people have a fear of getting older and being in their 30s, but I think it is such a beautiful time. It's a beautiful decade and I'm really enjoying it so far. So that's why I really wanted to have a space on the internet for my journey in my 30s and share that with you all. So I definitely want to keep making videos like that. It's been giving me so much joy, honestly. I feel like when I make content like this, I am thriving. I actually love turning on the camera. I am loving it because for the longest time, I actually wasn't really enjoying creating content. And I want to make content that I also love watching, that I also love consuming, and I wasn't doing that for the longest time. So I'm so much happier. I feel like people are also seeing the happiness and the real me in my new videos as well. And there's just so much joy. There's more creativity. And hopefully I can bring out more of my real self in my videos as well. So anyway, let's get to the episode of the Philippines and pretty much lessons I've learned from Filipino culture, how it has shaped my life and how it's continuing to shape my life today as well, because it was such a life-altering experience for me to go back to the Philippines. And it's been 11 years. I think I was 21 when I last went to the Philippines, and I was so much younger then. I was 21, I don't think it was like my first year of college, maybe, or not even. Maybe it was like the summer before college. And I was so young. Like when you think you're 21 at the time, you think you're so old. You think you're grown up. But now that I look back at that phase of my life, there was so much I needed to learn, of course. And I felt very lost at that time. And I just always wanted to be with my family too. Like I loved just being home with my family. And yeah, life has changed so much since then. And I've learned so much along the way. I appreciate my culture so much more ever since I was 21, of course. And now that I'm 32 and I went back to the Philippines, I've just noticed more things as well. And things I didn't really notice or care about when I was 21 years old. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So I went to Manila first. So I was in Manila for around, was it like 3 or 4 days maybe? And the experience was a little bit different because usually when I go to the Philippines, I stay with family. And I love those types of travel experiences because I love knowing the local culture and just like being in the local neighborhoods and seeing what life is really like. I absolutely love that. That is my favorite form of travel. Like when I was living in Denmark for 6 months, that was amazing to actually live with a Danish family every weekend and seeing what life was actually like. Because we can go to a country and we can stay in hotels and we can, do all the touristy things and you'll kind of experience the culture, but not as much as when you're with family. So when I was in the Philippines, I was actually this time around in hotels and resorts. And it was definitely a different experience, but I still really appreciated the culture. And I think because I was more so in the hotels and I guess doing more of the city areas, I got to see more people because when I used to go to the Philippines, I would mostly be with my family and I wouldn't interact a lot with like, I guess people from, just like people you don't know, like strangers. But this time around, I was, in a lot of restaurants. I was in hotels, resorts, in malls, and just walking around in the city. And I got to really observe the people. And I will say that the people in the Philippines, oh my gosh, probably some of the most beautiful people I have ever met in my whole entire life. Like, not just beautiful on the outside, but beautiful on the inside. I've never met such hospitable and caring people in my whole entire life. And I didn't quite notice that when I used to go back to the Philippines a lot when I was younger. But this time around, I was so shocked at how loving everyone was from the moment I stepped out of the airport. Just seeing everyone, how helpful they were to, get you to your taxi or to your hotels. And then it's like every single person that I interacted with was just so caring and so it just felt like family. It felt like I was interacting with like my uncles or my aunties, my titas and all that. And yeah, it was such a shock because it was just different. Like when I went to Japan a couple months ago or like 3 months ago, they were also so incredibly nice and kind and super, super, super polite. But when I went to the Philippines, it was like a kindness that was super genuine and it just felt like everyone was family. And that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. And I noticed this too, like, for example, when I went on a boat with my family and the people that were working on the boat, they would actually help my auntie walk to different parts. Like when she had to get out of the boat and go to like a restaurant, they would actually like hold her and like help her walk to, the restaurant nearby or whatever. And people there, it was like everyone had such empathy in their hearts and like kind of like a caregiver kind of personality, like just super caring, super loving. I think maybe it's also because in Filipino culture, it's really important to take care of your family and to take care of your elders too, specifically. And family is super, super important. And it's a huge part of the culture. It's a huge part of the society. And maybe that has something to do with just knowing how to take care of people in general, because we take care of our grandparents, we take care of our parents. And it was really beautiful seeing that, like everywhere that I went, honestly, not just in your families, but like random people that you don't even know are there, like helping you walk, helping you every step of the way. So beautiful. And the hospitality was just something I've never, ever seen. I've seen it, in my family and what I've been around my whole entire life. Obviously, like my whole family is Filipino. I have uncles and yeah, I would say I have like uncles that are not Filipino, but like, my whole family is Filipino. So like I know what it's like to take care of your family. I saw all my cousins and uncles, aunties, like take care of everyone. My grandparents, like we would switch off houses to take care of my grandparents, throughout the years that they came to the US. And that was just normal for me, that was so normal. But then actually seeing it in real time, like in the Philippines, not just family, but just strangers and just anyone, like they just show them so much care and love. And yeah, I think I don't know, it just kind of makes me emotional in a way. I don't know why it does, but it just makes me really happy that I'm a part of a culture like that really cares so much. And I think that's a huge part of Filipinos in general. I think that they're really loving and caring people. And of course, I am being generic, but it is true in a sense. Like, Filipinos that I meet, they're just there's a sense of like community about them, and community is a huge thing. Not just, I mean, I guess definitely like family is so important, but also just having a community in general and taking care of people in your neighborhood, in your social circle. And one thing that I've also noticed about the Philippines is that I don't think people in the Philippines are as lonely. There's not really a loneliness epidemic that I see here in the US. There is a loneliness in a lot of countries where community isn't as important and people are very individualistic. And in the Philippines, it's more of collectivism and being community oriented rather than being individualistic and having that very much like me mindset. So I actually noticed that because all my aunties, my mom, they're still friends with all of their schoolmates from high school and college and maybe even elementary school. And I think that is the coolest thing because I don't really have many friends at all. Maybe even like, no, I have like almost no friends from high school, unfortunately. And I don't know why, because I loved my friends at that time, but I can go into this topic in a later video, but I don't know what it is. I think in the Philippines, like you're friends with your classmates literally for life. My aunties, like they went to see their friends from 20 years ago. My auntie stayed with her friends in the Philippines for a little bit during this trip, and they're like genuine, real friends too. My mom has friends from high school and college as well, and they still keep in touch. And I know this is true because a lot of people from the Philippines, they go to a lot of class reunions, and it's like a huge thing, like in Filipino school culture, is the class reunions and things like that. And here in America, people don't really go to their like high school reunions. Like, I don't know that many people that actually went to my high school reunion. It's not a huge thing here, honestly, but in the Philippines, it is because you actually grow up with your classmates ever since like elementary school to high school. So you know these kids almost your whole entire life. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what it is. It's like just being with these people your whole life, whereas like in American school, you change students every single year, at least in a public school. Because when I went to private school, actually, I was with my classmates until like 5th grade, and then I went to public school. And I would say like, I think a lot of my, people, all my classmates from elementary school, I think they're like still friends now. Like they still have a connection and a friendship. Whereas like for me, I don't have any friends from elementary school, not really middle school. Maybe I have like 1 or 2 friends from high school, but that's pretty much it. So I really love how friendships last in the Philippines, and they're so strong. I actually have a friend in the Philippines, a couple of friends, but this one friend, she was someone that I had met when she studied abroad here in San Francisco, and she has so many friends, it seems. And these are friends from college, high school, like everyone just, it's like this huge group that they're batchmates, they call it. And when you have, like, friends are so important to have, like true, genuine friends who will be there for anything. And that's what makes life so beautiful. Relationships, connections, that's like a huge meaning of life and why we were created to like, to keep on being in this community and to build strong relationships and to get to know each other more. And I really want to keep building something like that for my life as well. So that's what I've learned from Filipino culture, is that community is so important. And I always knew that in a sense, but it's just different when you actually see it in real life, like true, genuine community, not this fake stuff where it's like, yeah, we're friends, but not really. I mean, like true, real friends. Yeah, it just makes me so happy. And I can tell, like the way that my mom grew up, she had so many friends. Yes, she is an extroverted person, but she had so many friends. And I think that's just the way it is in the Philippines. You have so many friends, you have so much family, you have people that you're close to in your neighborhood. And you can go to your neighbor's house. Their garages are all like open. And I remember when, I was younger, we would have like parties in the garages. And it's just, I love that feeling. I love that feeling of community and neighborly love. And yeah, it is something that that feeling is something that I'll never forget, and something that I want to have in my life as well. So another beautiful thing about Filipino culture is their love for food, and not just making delicious food, but also the fact that food is a form of love in our culture. And you give people food all the time. And I need to be better at that. Maybe because I don't cook all the time, but I think that food is like one of the best things you can do for someone, to cook for someone, especially if they're going through a hard time, or just to have food in your house always, so that when someone comes in, like there's always going to be food on the table. Like, I never want to take food for granted, because food is life. It's a huge part of life, and it fuels you, and it keeps you satisfied. And they put so much love into their food, how they prepare it, how beautiful Filipino food is. My cousin is an amazing chef. She's so good at cooking. And one of her specialties is, what's it called? It's called, I forgot. It's like boodle fight. I don't know if what's the actual term for it. It's where you eat with your hands though. I forgot what it's called. Kamayan? Maybe kamayan? But there's banana leaves all over the table. And then you just put like rice, lumpia, different Filipino foods, on across the table. And then everyone sits around the table and they all eat together with their hands. And it looks beautiful too. Like when you actually see it, it is such a beautiful time. It's pretty popular in like family get-togethers and parties. And yeah, we eat with our hands too. I don't eat with my hands too much, but like sometimes I do. Like in those specific events or parties, I do. Yeah, food is love. Food is a huge part of community. My mom is this way too. Like, she'll always give me and my husband food all the time. Whenever I visit her, she's always giving me food. They always want you to eat. It's so funny because like in Filipino culture, everyone's always trying to feed you, but then they also make fun of your weight too. They're like, oh, you're getting fat, but then also like eat. It's interesting. Yeah, they always want you to eat, but that's just how it is. I remember going to all the parties and stuff growing up, and there was always like so much food on the table. And I'll never take that for granted, because, yeah. Oh, I'm getting a little bit emotional because not everyone can eat food. And, oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. Like, it was hard seeing a lot of, people in the Philippines. How do I say this? A lot of people in the Philippines can't eat a lot of food, or maybe they can't provide for themselves with a lot of food to eat. It is really such a blessing, especially like when I go to the Philippines. It's like, it's not a perfect country, and there are a lot of people that are struggling too. But the beautiful thing is that Filipinos are hard workers, and they will do anything for their families to feed them, to provide for them. And that's why a huge part of our culture is going out into different countries and working in a different country and sending money back home to their families. If you watch a lot of Filipino dramas, you'll see a lot of stories about families going to a different country so that they can make more money and then send it back home to the Philippines. It's a huge thing. They're called overseas workers. It just makes me so happy, and so proud of how much Filipinos truly care for their families and the people that they love. And that just goes to show, again, another way of hospitality and respect and love and sacrifice for their families. I guess I'll go into the next point because it relates to like really working hard for your family. So even though like Filipinos are super hardworking and they sacrifice so much for their families, and I do see a lot of struggle in the Philippines as well, as far as like, just the economy and a lot of people that don't have the basic necessities. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. But what I did notice is that there is still so much joy in Filipinos, so much joy, so much resilience, so much like they love music, they love dancing, they love performing, and that just gives me so much joy. Like even in, certain areas where they might not have a lot, like in certain, parts of the city or whatever, I still hear people like karaokeing and laughing and enjoying life too. And of course, I know it's like, I wish that the government could do more for people who are living in poverty or those who may not have enough. I wish that they could help everyone. But I also realized how the people in the Philippines, they make with what they have. And again, something that all Filipinos have, I feel, is just the joy of music and the joy of singing. And I've seen that. Like, obviously, I've seen it in America, like Filipino Americans here. Like, we love singing, we love karaoke. It's a huge part of our culture. It's in every single party. We're always karaokeing. But it's so cool actually seeing it in the Philippines and like seeing people on the streets just singing all night. Like when I was in Boracay, I was, we were just driving through the town and I would hear just like karaoke's like in different little shops. And it was so cool. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love karaoke too. I love singing. It's very me. And I feel like now when I sing, it's like, I feel like I can really get in touch with my culture because that's just a part of being Filipino is singing. I sing, my dad sings, my mom loves singing, but she's not like, she doesn't think she's a good singer, but she likes singing too. A lot of my friends who are Filipino love singing. Yeah, we just love music. Even if you don't love singing, it's like you love music. I know you do. And yeah, there's just so much joy in the country. Like from the moment I stepped out of the plane, like I just felt this energy that I can't even describe. This energy, like this positive, joyful, loving energy that I don't feel here in the US. And I'm so grateful to be here in the US. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a different energy when I'm there. And yeah, there's just a lot of very happy people. And again, life isn't always happy. I know that. And people are experiencing a lot in the Philippines. And I know life isn't perfect, but there is a happiness in the people. And I love that too, because it reminds me that no matter what I'm going through, I know that there's always something to be grateful for and there's always something to be joyful for as well. And life isn't doom and gloom. I don't like seeing life like that. I don't like seeing life like I'm living in a black and white movie. Life is filled with color, filled with joy, filled with so many good people too. And I don't think the news shares enough of that. I think the news is all about scaring people and making it seem like life is so scary and all the fear mongering. But there's so much goodness in this world too. And I saw that in the Philippines. Like so much goodness. Like humans can be such wonderful people. And I know that, sometimes we joke like, oh, like I don't like humans, blah, blah, blah. Like everyone's annoying me today, whatever. But truly, like, like what I believe is that we're all made in the image of God and we have so many qualities of God and it's just such a beautiful thing. There's some amazing people out there and that's all I'll say. And I met a lot of those people in the Philippines. All right, the next thing I'll say, I have two more things actually. So the next thing is that like Filipinos are very professional people. And I think that's beautiful. Of course, Filipinos are super, super hardworking, but I also really appreciated how everyone in the Philippines, they all look so professional and so put together and so beautiful. Like all the girls in like the hotels and the flight attendants, people in the airports, like they have to dress very clean, very put together. Their hair is in a bun. Everyone has a bun, like a very a very neat bun, no like flyaways or whatever on their hair. Everyone has like nice makeup on, and they all look so neat, put together, beautiful. And you'll see that in so many places in the Philippines, like restaurants, hotels, resorts, airports, airplanes. Where else? Where's other places? Like banks, wherever you go to like interact with people and, people who are like front facing in the workforce, like they all look so professional, so beautiful. They know how to talk in such a kind and polite way. Like they're always saying ma'am and they're always saying sir. Always. Very respectful. The way they talk is very respectful. And here in the US, it's definitely more casual. And yeah, I don't know. I think it just reminds me to like, okay, like looking professional is actually super, super important. And yeah, I just thought it was really cool because I don't see that too much in the US, honestly. And that's okay too. That's just our culture here in the US, and that's completely fine. But it's cool just being in a different culture and seeing how people dress and how they interact, how they talk to people as well. And not just in the Philippines too, but like when I went to Japan as well, people in Japan are super professional. And also like Asian flight attendants, I feel like you have to like be a model to be a flight attendant in Asia because a lot of them have a certain look to them. And if you are like if you're in the airport in the international terminal and you see like, flight attendants from Cathay Pacific or what is it called? Emirates, you'll see how they look. They all look very put together. They have the cutest uniforms, hair tied up in a bun, beautiful skin, everything. And that's just the way that, Asians look, I guess, like when they're serving people and working, and it is such a beautiful thing. So I just wanted to say that too, because I'm like, oh my gosh, so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. I just love seeing professionalism. I love seeing people in their element. Like I love seeing people actually care about, not necessarily looking beautiful, but just looking put together. Like it's so cool seeing that. It was just a culture shock to me. I loved it. And the last thing is that Filipinos are really into harmony. And I actually noticed this with a lot of Asian cultures in general, is that they do things to like please the community. So they don't want to get embarrassed too much, or like confrontation isn't a huge thing in Filipino culture. You just kind of shut your mouth so that you don't cause a ruckus, so you don't cause any chaos or like disturbance in the family. And I'm not sure if that's actually a good thing, honestly, because I think you should speak your mind and you should tell people how you feel, and you should speak up when something is wrong. Even if it may cause you to look like an embarrassment or make you look, like you're the weirdo of the group, I think that it's better to voice your opinion instead of just shut your mouth and stay quiet, just for the harmony of the family or the community. But yeah, harmony is a huge thing. Harmony can be a great thing too, as well. And that's also what makes for a great community too. But I guess there's the pros and cons of it all, And in America, it's all about like, we need to voice our opinions and say what's on our mind. And if something's wrong, let's talk about it. I think growing up for me too, I have a really hard time with confrontation and speaking my mind. It is getting a little bit better, but for me growing up, and this probably is a cultural thing, is like, I didn't want to cause any trouble, in my family, or I didn't want to feel bad at all. So I just didn't say anything if I had something that was kind of bothering me. And of course, I think hopefully in my next generation, like when I have kids someday, I want them to have like open communication and talk to me when they have problems, and like even talk to me when they need to confront something and tell me like what's on their mind. I want to know, because I just didn't really have the guts to do that when I was a child. Or even like a teenager and in my early 20s. So yeah, I think communication is super important, and I hope that there's more of that too in the new generation of the Philippines, and not being confrontational and like in an aggressive way, but just speaking your mind more. I hope that's a thing. I don't know if it is, but I hope so. But yeah, those are the things that I've learned about being in the Philippines. And of course, this is just my perspective. I was only there for 9 days. I wasn't even there that long. I would love to like live there sometime in my future, like maybe for a month or so, a couple months, just to see what it's like. And yeah, there's so much more to learn about Filipino culture, but I do really love it. I'm very grateful to be a Filipina, and yeah, I hope I can go back again soon and experience more, learn more, make more friends in the Philippines. And yeah, I'm very excited for that because I feel like friendships in the Philippines are long lasting and they're so genuine, and I hope to make more of that. And I want to bring my husband along with me so he can really see Filipino culture in real time. What does that even mean? But he can just like see it for what it's actually like in the Philippines, and go eat all the delicious food, and go to the beach resorts too, see family, see friends. It'll be a good time. I recommend you guys to also visit the Philippines too. It truly is one of the most beautiful countries I've ever visited. Truly. It really is. So anyway, guys, that was this episode today. I hope you enjoyed. Again, there was so much that I realized in my 30s about, being Filipino and being in the Philippines. And I am forever grateful. So I love you guys so much. And I'll see you in the next episode, everyone. Bye. Love you.